So, not really much of the map to look at, seeing as the majority is covered in fog of war. So, not much to see here, but if we swap Volug around a little bit, we might be able to see a little further. If we put him there, we can see a cat. So, this chapter, we actually have some reasonably competent NPCs helping us. This guy in particular, you want to keep him alive because he will often physics staff your characters, which really helps. We also have a relatively competent sniper over here. Now, there is a hidden treasure here. Actually, wait, I'll be able to explain it better once I can see, but it's around here. And it's actually a very good treasure. It's a brave bow, so pretty valuable. Definitely want to get your hands on that. Now, there's a certain character who's very good at grabbing that, but well, I'll talk about that later. First, though, we can deploy everyone, but I'm so sorry, no Meg or Fiona. They're just going to die instantly in this one. I might still deploy Leonardo, just in case, because he might actually still be useful. Don't want anything to attack him, though. So, let's see. I'm going to have Zhark go down there, because Zhark and Volk need to stay close to each other. Volug, I'm still doing that, wow. So yeah, Volug is no longer a forced deployment, and that means you can freely reposition him, which is great. So Edward's gonna go up there, as will Nolan, and Aaron will go on this side. And I like Jill being there. Yeah, Vision's pretty much the same regardless of where I deploy those two. That's pretty much all. Let's go. And we have one of my least favorite map themes in the game. Well, I guess it kind of fits for a battle that we really don't want to be fighting. So anyway, we can't really see much of the enemies yet, but my first move here will be to have Jill attack this tiger. Actually, first I want to say something. Remember how I said all the way back in 1.4 that the tigers there were nowhere near the worst tigers we'd ever fight? Well, about that. Yeah. These tigers hit incredibly hard, and they're also very accurate. They are some of the most dangerous enemies you'll ever fight in this game, and they are the bane of many players' existence. Where you can, eliminate the tigers quickly. And that's what Beast Foe is good for. It's wildly out of character for Jill, but in a gameplay sense, she makes very good use of it. I'm not too worried about her taking damage, because I can just heal a little bit higher, and ow, that is overkill. That is insane overkill. Although we will be seeing some even worse overkill later on in part 3, hopefully, but for now, Jill's going to use her Kanto movement to scout into the darkness a little bit. Yeah, that's quite a lot of enemies who we can see. So most of them are just cats. The cats aren't that strong, though they are decently fast. The enemies here aren't really all that high leveled, but they're still a threat to the Dawn Brigade. So it's the tigers you want to watch out for. Wherever you can, take out the untransformed tigers before they transform. Because you really don't want to be dealing with tigers on the enemy phase. They are extremely dangerous, and the less you have to deal with, the better. So, neutralizing them before they can transform is a good tactic. The cats, as you can see, are pretty weak, even when they are transformed. Now, the only problem with killing Lagoos when they're untransformed is they're not worth as much experience. Transformed Lagoos, as you'll soon see, are worth immense amounts of experience points in this chapter. And I think they intentionally set up this chapter like that for a reason. Basically, this chapter exists to make sure the Dawn Brigade get trained up for the later Part 3 chapters. We're all about just barely promoted at this point, and hopefully you should be that way. On my hard mode file, I just barely had Edward, Nolan, and Jill at level 1 promoted. Now, by the end of this chapter, most of us will be level 8 promoted. That's how much experience the enemies are worth here, and they force you to kill a whole ton of enemies. As you can see here, we have to kill 43 enemies to end the chapter. It's, I think, like 45 or 6 or something at the start of the chapter. Anyway, it's almost 50. So this is that semi-route chapter that I was talking about before. So this isn't technically a route chapter, but it's sort of a route chapter. So anyway, here's how useful the Beast Killer is, but this is why I said that Soft's speed is not quite as good as I hoped it would be, because he's not doubling these cats, and that's kind of a bad thing. As you can see there, though, even hitting an untransformed Lagoos gives you a ton of experience. So they're worth an awful lot. Okay, tiger. That's a tiger, it's not going to be transforming on enemy phase. And speaking of worth a lot, want to know how much a transformed Laguz is worth with Paragon? Let's find out. Hint, it's a lot of experience. Yeah, a whole lot of experience. Oh, that's a pretty bad level, though. Alright, that's down. We still have some Laguz close to our lines at the start. What I kind of like doing here is, I'm going to go ahead and half-shift Volug. Didn't call him Volk that time, Volug. And as you can see, he can see very far, which is a pretty good boon. But as you can also see, half-shifted Volug is suddenly looking a lot less strong than he was in Part 1. Also, half-shifted Volug now has his transform gauge deplete like normal after battle. That I don't think is in Volug's support range, and I don't think Z-Heart can finish you with the Wind Edge. But you are at least untransformed. Okay, I can do Converse between Volug and Z-Hark, but I might wait until Volug initiates it, because Volug's initiation dialogue for Converse is great. I said back in Part 1 that I really wanted to show that, and show it I will. So, the way that, I guess, if you feel a bit weak, the way that you should handle this chapter is to choke point both shores of this little island. If you do that, the chapter's really not that bad. You don't need to worry too much about the enemies. The logs form natural cover for the most part. And I'm going to go ahead and add Micaiah. Yeah, she's going to visit Jill, because Jill kind of needs the healing. But if you're decently strong like I am, you might be able to afford ranging out a little bit. Though I will say, be very careful when you approach this corner of the map, especially with Z-Hark. So, let's just say that the boss of this chapter, there might be something a little bit similar to Jill and her father in Path of Radiance, if you know what I mean. Unfortunately, Torch in this game is centered around you rather than, you selecting a square, so that's not really going to reveal that much. Now, the partner soldiers in particular, I actually find pretty effective at choke pointing. Like I said earlier, you sometimes get instances of hero NPCs at this point in the game. And I guess this is one of our few times actually seeing, like, full black armored Daean soldiers in this game. So, Leth is the boss of this chapter, and she has Mordecai with her too. This is our first instance of potentially, in this case potentially because we don't have to fight them, but potentially fighting characters from our side, and oh, that's your transform gauge, not mine, pretty sure. But this is our first instance of fighting, and this is an instance of Jill one-shotting, of fighting characters who we control. So don't worry, you can't kill any playable characters. If you reduce them to 0 HP, they'll just retreat. However, they have the exact same stats and inventories they had while they were playable. And yes, they can consume healing items or worse, consumable weapons. Because of that, it is somewhat advisable to make sure you don't equip any weapons that are really valuable and have low uses before ending chapters like this, because the AI has this annoying habit of, let's just say, wasting your weapons. Finally, strength. The curse is broken at last. But yeah, this is the true power of Beast Foe, though I won't be using Jill here very much. The cats are actually pretty evasive if they stand in the reeds, as you can see there. But you got doubled anyway. Some people like to give Jill Paragon in this chapter, but I followed some advice from comments who said that Jill of Beast Foe just gets enough experience as it is. She doesn't really need Paragon. Why didn't you transform? Anyway, we've got a bunch of enemies on this little island here, and Jill, I'd probably much rather have Jill... Wait, no. I'll have Jill stay there, because there's a chance that if I move her, I won't be able to see these two, and I definitely want to be able to see them. Unfortunately, Nolan and Edward can't quite reach that little island yet. And that's just not enough damage. Dang it. Well, that's a problem. What's your transform gauge at? You're not going to transform next turn if I don't attack you, so maybe it might be in my best interest to not fight you this turn. And whenever you don't have another choice, whenever you're not attacking something at range, I like to equip Collad Bulb on Edward, because that at least gives him a little bit of extra evasion thanks to the boosted luck. So Jill's going to go ahead and fight this guy now. If you're really desperate to one-round something, you can use the Brave Axe. I personally don't like to rely on it too much, although when I played this chapter last on hard mode, wow, Jill is pretty much crazy. Just really out of character, but anyway. When I played this chapter on hard mode, I keep saying that, but it is a pretty good experience to be able to recount. I actually did need to use the Brave Axe quite a lot, because I forgot to forge Jill an axe, so yeah. Now that is a tiger who's about to transform, which means I want to get rid of him quickly. It is really tempting to finish off that cat with Aaron and get the massive Paragon experience, but I think it's actually better for me to kill this tiger. Like I said, you really, really want to eliminate the tigers on the player phase when they're untransformed wherever possible. So, who takes out this cat? I think I'm actually going to take it out with Soft. Now, this is a situation where, well, it would be a situation where the Bronze Dagger is good, but your HP is too high. I have to use the Beast Killer. The one downside of the Beast Killer is its accuracy is not the best, especially against cats. I really don't like that Salt isn't doubling, though. He will probably double Tiger. In fact, he might not even double Tigers at this rate. Unfortunately, that cat is in the reeds. Seriously, even with an Earth support, Zehawk has that much of a chance of being hit by you? That is really not good. But if he gets hit, I can just heal him, because I don't really have anyone else to physically retire. Also, if you think Jill is conflicted in this chapter, Zehawk is even worse, and you'll really see that in a special conversation I plan on showing in bonus footage. As of recording this, I've already taken a little bit of bonus footage for this chapter. I'm going to actually have to add that is terrible, wow. Clearly, everyone here doesn't like fighting these Lagoos. But yeah, I've already recorded a bit of bonus footage, and there's going to be a lot of bonus footage for this chapter. Also, this is the Converse dialogue I wanted to show. So, Volug, if you can understand what he says, is actually one of the snarkiest characters in this game. And that's really saying something, considering this game has Ranulph, Ike, and Soren in it. And Zehawk has pretty much no personality at all in his conversation there. But oh well. How far can you move? Decently far for now. So I'm going to go ahead and, yeah, let's visit Zehawk. And we do have an NPC guy here who can physic us if we need it. These two are going to stay back for now, although maybe it's safe for Laura to torch here? I love how Torch looks in this game, it looks so cool. And that gets her a level up. I really should have saved a Master Seal for Laura. That's unfortunate. That was a good level though. And yes, you're also a tiger. There are a lot of tigers around this island. That's why I want to have Edward and Nolan take it on. Because they can hopefully handle it. So, this space right in front of the dead tree has the Brave Bow. But, I mean, I could try for it with Leonardo, but the chances are extremely small. But, what is my luck? I can't get Rolf to gain strength with a 75% growth, but I can grab an item like that with like a 14% chance. I was hoping that I'd end up getting it later in the chapter with a certain other character, but... Okay, this is actually not good. See, look at this. Even Nolan gets two-shotted by these guys. It's funny, I thought that was a critical for a second, and I actually really, really don't want Nolan to crit anything in this situation, because if Nolan gets attacked by two of the tigers, that could be terrible. So, yeah, glad Nolan didn't crit there. Speaking of tigers, hi there. Yeah, these tigers are incredibly dangerous. Thankfully, I've got the Earth support on my side. I really wish Volug and Zehawk had a B by now, though. It's definitely possible to get into a B by now. Okay, that's annoying. I find this conversation really interesting, too. Leth actually comes across a lot well, I don't want to say stupid, but, she's a lot less rational than you think she'd be, and I almost feel like that might be part of this multiple perspective storytelling. Like, what I feel is happening is you're actually seeing a worse side of Leth here because the story is being told from the perspective of the other side. I mean, that's probably not what they intended, but I like to think about it that way, and I find it really cool thinking about it that way. The whole, you know, like, written by the winners idea. You know, the idea that maybe the characters on the side that you were playing as before might not be quite as competent or noble, or at least the enemy side is going to view them in a lot harsher of a light. Alright, let's, yeah, I am definitely Tarvosing you. Okay, so now Edward and Nolan are on these reeds. Hopefully they can hold out here, because they're going to be holding this position for the rest of the chapter. And this is also going to give them an absolute ton of experience. Yeah, that's not even Paragon. Nolan tends to end up ridiculously over-level, well, not over-level, but incredibly high-level by the end of this chapter. Jill's already doing pretty well too. Okay. But yeah, I still think that's a really interesting idea, just the fact that Leth is portrayed less sympathetically here because she's not on your side now. Now let's get rid of you. I might need to rely on the NPC priest healing me. After I get rid of these tigers, I'm going to try and have Jill forge ahead a little bit. There are reinforcements in this chapter, and the reinforcements are actually ambush spawning, but thankfully they always ambush spawn in their untransformed states, so they can't attack you on the turn they arrive. Okay, maybe Jill's strength curse is balancing itself out now. Don't want Jill to go too far in, though. I think I'll keep her back for now. Because that tiger is really something that I want gone. Don't particularly like Soth heading out this far too, but like I said, that guy is, he has much less of a range on physic than Micaiah, so this could actually be bad if I... Actually, maybe it's probably for the best... Dang it, I forgot to... So yeah, I had to restart this because I forgot to use the speed wing on Edward, but I forgot this time to give Aaron the short spear. It's probably not the end of the world, though. There are no 1 to 2 range enemies in this chapter, so hopefully it shouldn't be that much of a loss. So Aaron's going to continue to forge ahead on this side. It's interesting how Aaron and Nethany look so different from each other. Well, that kind of makes up for his earlier level up. He got strength for 4, now he gets everything useful besides strength. And that's not reeds either. Still really don't want to do that. Yeah, I'm going to have to go for Soth here, and I might have to put Volog and the reeds in front of Soth, because this is about the point where Soth starts to get very, very fragile. He was kind of a tank in part 1. He is definitely not a tank now. Soth will die very, very quickly, and unlike Volog, it is definitely a game over if he dies, so keep him protected. Also, this is about the point where you start to realize that his growths are not the best in the world, and even if they were, his camps let him down. Yeah, I'll send Zihak that way, and Volog will step in front. That is a tiger, but it's not going to transform yet, and it's probably going to die to the NPCs anyway. Leonardo will probably just stay back for now, and I think Laura's relatively safe where she is. Good thing about fighting Laguz is that they're never ranged. Please tell me they didn't increase your transform gaze to maximum. Doesn't look like it did. Good. Tigers still hit pretty hard, even when they're just punching you in the face. And thank you so much. So, this NPC priest is usually a hero. He can often be counted on to help you when you really need him to. That could be really bad if there's a tiger waving the wings, though. But thankfully, Edward dodged that. He can take one tiger, but often not one tiger and one cat. And that is why I use the speed on Edward. Because if he gets speed here... No. But he may still be able to double some of the cats. Oh, you actually are at max. But you idiotically attack Nolan rather than Edward. The AI on these enemies often isn't the smartest thing in the world. And that's often a good thing. And another level up for Nolan. I would appreciate strength, but Nolan's strength is not the greatest on the warrior. He makes up for it by being really, really fast. Okay, that's a tiger. That's a cat. Nolan may even double this cat. He has his tendency to, because he's a very, very fast warrior. No, he did not. Okay, then. And that means I might have to have Edward attack with... Actually, no, wait, I won't, obviously. I'll have Nolan finish that cat, and then I'll have Edward finish the one adjacent to him. I want to keep Caladbolg on Edward, because it means less chance of him getting hit by tigers. I like all of this dialogue you get as the enemies get more and more panicked. Again, like, just seeing the fact that characters you used to be controlling are now panicking because you're fighting them is just... It really hurts. And I love the way this part of the game handles this. Part of why I like Part 3 a lot more than most people do. And I guess tsundere-ness runs in the family, as you'll see here. You know, I should just say something. There's probably a ton of people who really wish that you could fight Lyra, but I'm pretty sure you never actually get to fight Lyra in Part 3. She's one of the few, characters on the Grail Mercenary side that you don't actually get to fight. Yeah, now here's where things get a little bit tricky, because I can't quite see what's in the darkness here. If anyone's going to go forward, though, it will probably be Aaron and Jill. Because they are incredibly tanky. I find this chapter a lot more difficult if you don't have a trained Aaron. This is one of the reasons why I feel like training Aaron does help in Part 3, even if you don't plan on using him later. But the other reason won't come until the next chapter. Well, next chapter from the Dawn Brigade's perspective. It's going to be quite a while from the other party's perspective. And thanks to Discipline, we've already ranked up Micaiah's staffs. I like to get her staff rank up as high as it can be as quickly as possible. Okay, Jill. Right. You might notice that Jill actually has a bond support with Leth in this file. So, yeah, Jill has a bond support with the boss, and I believe that in this game, bond supports do take effect if you're on different sides. That was not the case in Path of Radiance, but I'm almost positive it is in Radiant Dawn. Because there are going to be many, many instances of potential bond support between enemies in this one, especially starting from now. Volug finally gets more than one experience from enemies. HP and luck are the only two good stats he has, though. Okay, you're at max transform gauge. That means you have to die right now. Now, I'm going to need to make sure not to have Z-Heart go anywhere near Leth, because don't worry, I will be showing their dialogue in bonus footage, but not in the main footage. Definitely not in the main footage. So, usually I don't even make it to this island. Usually I just choke point here and here for the rest of this entire chapter. While I have the cursor over here, I might as well have Edward and Nolan fight. Really wish Edward was doubling these cats. He often does. In fact, even on my hard mode file, he was doubling most of the cats, so he must have got a little bit speed through in this file. But hopefully he will be getting a little bit more speed soon. Oh yeah, that's a droppable item. I thought it was a treasure for a second, but no, the only treasure in this chapter is that Brave Bow. Let's... No, I have to use Tarvos to one-shot you anyway. On my hard file, I had Beast Foe and Nolan, so he was just one-shotting everything with Tarvos up here, and everything just attacked him and died on the enemy phase, and he got massive, massive amounts of experience, even without Paragon. That was pretty fun. Okay, that's good. Now, reinforcements do often spawn from up here. Now, you might want to sometimes pay attention. Look at the water very, very closely. There's actually a really cool gameplay feature of this map, and I think it's actually really great. I really, really like this feature. And I feel like it's one of the few ways to do reinforcements fairly in Fog of War. I want to break that. Might as well click the Steel Axe. That is a cat that's about to transform and give me his vulnerary. Soth needs to be very careful because he really doesn't like getting hit by two tigers in the same turn. We're already down to almost half. Oh no. That sniper usually doesn't go that far. that might actually ruin Edward and Nolan's plan here, because I want them to stay tanking on the reeds for most of this chapter, as I've said many times. And now the Lagoos are going to go ahead and attack that sniper, aren't they? Which means that I'll have to put Edward and Nolan out of the reeds if I want them to keep fighting, and that's not good because I want them to stay there. That's unfortunate. If you gain speed in some of your early levels up, you might have actually doubled that guy. I kind of want you to die, weirdly enough. Yeah, I'm so sorry, but leave it. Leave this front to Edward and Nolan. That's definitely a tiger. Wait a minute. Okay, no, I can still see him. I thought for a second that my vision receded for a second there. But anyway, I don't know if you've seen it happen yet, but I guess I can explain it now. When reinforcements spawn, you can hear the splashing in the water, and if you look very closely, you can actually see splashes in the river where the reinforcements just spawned. I love that detail so much. I don't know how many people have actually picked up on that detail, but I feel like the developers would have definitely done that intentionally. To actually show the player where the reinforcements are, even if they don't have line of sight to them. It's a really cool detail. So, I have the volume turned down when I'm recording so that the TV doesn't pick up on my microphone and create echo, but you might want to turn the volume up while you're playing this chapter, because listen carefully for the splashes when reinforcements spawn. They are definitely present, and yeah, Aaron is actually doing pretty well for me, even though his speed cap is much, much lower than Nephi's is. Who do I want to... Yeah, I might want to have Jill fight this guy. Now, I actually have to use the Brave Axe here. I want to finish you off, otherwise I'll have a transformed tiger to deal with in the enemy phase. By the way, you've probably already realized by now, but yeah, the enemy phase fanfare and the enemy phase battle theme are the Grail Mercenaries ones. It's just so disorienting and just also really cool to hear those themes playing for enemies. It's just like, wait, what? I thought that was me. Oh, right. I'm fighting myself now. So there are more of them down there, I think. And I think for now I'm actually going to have Jill hover around this area. Yep, there's one. Zihak and Volug, I may as well use Nolivi Grass. I don't want there to be tigers down there. But thankfully, Zihak is available with his movement, and he still doesn't kill it. Okay. He does have Adept and the chance of a crit, though. And I also have the NPCs who can't reach. Of course they can't reach. Okay, this is not good. This is really, really bad. Right. Come on, Zihak. Adept or critical, please. As much as you don't want to when fighting... Not neither. Okay, then. Zihak doesn't get one-shotted by tigers, does he? Please tell me he doesn't get one-shotted by tigers, because that would be extremely awful. Oh no, his defense is 1 point higher than Edward, and Edward takes about 20 damage from the tigers, so yeah, he's fine. And here, it is very, very tempting to go for a Storm Sword attack on the tiger, but if I do that, that means this tiger has a much greater chance of hitting me during the enemy phase, and I really don't want that, so let's go ahead and continue to equip Glad Bolg. Nolan, I could trust in this guy to physic Nolan, but I might not do. Actually, no, wait. The Kai can physic Nolan because no one else is hurt. And our first promoted level up from the Kaya. Relatively typical. I think it's got a lot. I think it's got a bit skill screwed for me, which is kind of a shame. Yeah, Nolan's gonna stay there, I think. Oh, please don't dice off. Yeah, as you can see, reinforcements are ambush spawning, but they ambush spawn untransformed, so they're not true ambush spawning reinforcements, which is fair. I really don't know why they brought back ambush spawning reinforcements in Awakening, but at least they got rid of them quickly. Oh crap, okay, that's two tigers potentially hitting Edward. Edward needs to dodge both. Okay, good. He dodged at least one, that's good. I would have appreciated, and I'm surprised Edward has not activated advantage at all. You know, Edward doubling this cat could actually be a really bad thing. But it didn't hit him. Because if it had hit him, the tiger could have attacked and possibly killed him. I know that I have had Edward die here. You know what? I just remembered. How could I forget? On my hard mode playthrough, and by the way, that is actually, okay, that's great. That is actually Camp Strength on Edward. On my hard mode playthrough, I got down to about, I think, like 3 Lagoos left, and Edward died to a tiger on the enemy phase. So, but the weird thing was, I wasn't even that mad. There's a lot of people who find this chapter really frustrating. I personally don't find it all that bad if you're prepared for it. It's not really as hard, I find, as many people like to think it is. But then again, I train more Dawn Brigade characters than your average player of this. Or you could just run and heal. I thought Leth said they weren't cow. Okay then, yeah, that's a lot of tigers. Okay, please dodge. Good. Because if he got hit there and he criticaled, then the other tiger would be able to attack him. That's 5 tigers. And yeah, if you looked very closely there, you could have seen the splashes. But we've got reinforcements on our side too. And what's another cool touch is that Micaiah actually turns to face the Black Knight when he spawns. And he's dodging the question, obviously. Soth obviously thinks otherwise. In fact, can Soth even talk to him in this chapter? And that heals from the physics staff, by the way. Doesn't look like it. So, the Black Knight is back, and with his 40 skill, I like to have him try and find the Brave Bow. But there's something to talk about regarding the Black Knight in this chapter. He's basically an emergency option in case you're really struggling with this chapter. He is basically an I win button, but he's slowed down enormously by the swamp, so he's going to take a while to reach the enemies. However, if the Black Knight obtains any items during this chapter, make sure you trade them away from him before the chapter ends. This is the last time the Black Knight will ever be playable. So remember that. Now, yeah, that is way too many tigers. And thankfully Edward is in good biorhythm, otherwise I might be in severe trouble. In fact, you suddenly have way less hit rates. Edward must have suddenly transitioned to a better biorhythm. Now I critical something. Usually there aren't this many tigers up here at once, but blame that stupid NPC for running up here and preventing tigers from dying on the enemy phase to Nolan. And or Edward. Apprentice criticals and master criticals. I still like to see Edward and Nolan as having a student-mentor relationship. Yes, right, good. That was actually amazing. I'm getting some not bad level ups on the people that I really want not bad level ups on. But, oh boy, okay, here's where I worry a little bit. Because Edward needs to dodge these tigers. He really needs to dodge these tigers. Also, okay, good. Thankfully no one can get to Laura. Can Micaiah? Nah, she can't. Kinda wish she had Purge right about now, but no. She may have Purge later, I'll just say, but for now, no. Now, I could actually try and, you know, I'd rather get experience with Soth here. Because I don't really plan on training Zehart, but Soth is at least forced to endgame, so every level up on him really helps. As much as it can help. I mean, Soth's pretty much useless later in the game, but still better than nothing. Okay then. I could try and have Aaron go there. But that is, I believe, a tiger, so let's finish this thing off. Aaron's having some amazing crit rates in this chapter. I guess these tigers have really bad luck. Which I also feel is like an intentional design choice. To make it easier for you to crit them, so... I actually do think, like, overall, I don't know how many Fire Emblem fans would agree with me, but I actually consider this a pretty well-designed chapter. They clearly took into account just how behind on experience the Dawn Brigade is at this point, and they designed the chapter to force you to level up a lot. They made it so that it's not actually that hard to beat if you turtle at the start. They give you the Black Knight just in case you're really struggling. like, overall I find this is a great example of a chapter that's difficult but fair. But I am biased, admittedly, because I do tend to train people that many players of this game usually don't, like Aaron and Edward. But I still overall, and yeah, that is cap magic for some reason, and she's actually almost capped on defense and speed too. So yeah, as you can see, Jill fulfills a very different role to Ha, despite them both being the same class. Well, I mean, really, in all honesty, she fulfills a pretty similar role, but yeah. So yeah, like, many people dread this chapter. I welcome this chapter. I actually really enjoy it. And even from a story standpoint, I love what this does with the multiple perspectives. It's just really, really cool. It's just like, it's interesting. It's like the characters you were controlling and now you're enemies, and the characters you played as in part 1 and now essentially the bad guys. You know what? That HP could mean the difference between Death and not Death on Edward. I might as well heal him. And the Black Knight, I guess I'll send him up here. Like I said, he gets slowed down a lot by the swamp, so he's not actually going to be getting very far. What the heck? Let's torch again. That still looks amazing. Unfortunately, we can't really see much in there, and there's still 15 enemies to go, which does include the boss. I don't know if I'm going to be fighting Lef here. I might try. I do have bonus footage of fighting Lef. I mean, I won't question why you attack Nolan, but it's probably good for me. I'm glad you did. I'm just not really sure what your AI decision-making process was then. Are you afraid of Edward's critical rate or something? It's weird, a lot of enemies tend to attack Nolan. Maybe it's because they know that he won't kill them. But I mean, Edward won't kill them either, usually, at least. Look how fast we level up in this chapter. Why the heck are you remaining stationed? What? Yeah, the AI in this chapter is kind of weird, just after I was saying that it's very well designed. The AI can be kind of bizarre sometimes. Aren't they supposed to be battle-hungry? And yeah, you definitely saw the splash up here, didn't you? That means reinforcements. I still love that. Alright, that is also a transformed tiger. Oh, but I really want to get experience on Edward. The problem is, that... I mean, I could move Nolan over there, but that increases the chances of more things attacking Edward. Because Edward needs the kill more than Nolan does at this point. Try and hand axe that. This is still support range though. You know, I might try, and I'm actually running out of Tarvos, so let's not equip Tarvos for the time being. And it's Edward in, yes, he is in Best Biorhythm. But the enemy is also in Best Biorhythm. And I still like to keep using Kalad Bulk just because you want all the evasion you can get on Edward here. If he gets hit twice in one phase, he tends to die, so... This is about the point in the game where him being a glass cannon really starts to show. And yeah, as you can see, Black Knight clanks slowly towards the enemies. Well, that's unfortunate. Soft could beast kill that guy if the NPC wasn't in the way. You know what? I'm going to have Aaron try and cross here. Might put Aaron face to face with an old friend, though. Well, an old friend of ours, not an old friend of Aaron's. Oh, I really, really don't like having Jill go up there. Because from a story standpoint, there's somebody up there who Jill really, really, really doesn't want to fight. And they will attack Jill. So I guess now might be a good time, even though it's more relevant in the next chapter, to talk about something called pacifism data. So every character in this game... hi there. They're regular Lagoos, that's fine. Every character in this game has a list of other characters they will never attack under any circumstances. And this doesn't just mean won't attack if they're AI controlled. If they're player controlled and you move the character next to somebody who is on their pacifism list, you will not even get an attack option. So you can't make them fight even if you want to, which is really interesting. Oh, there might be a tiger down there. Oh, doesn't look like there's a tiger down there. Might as well. And pacifism data does definitely come into play during this chapter. For example, Zihak will not attack Leth or Mordecai. However, Leth will attack him, and if she does, Zihak will not try and defend himself. That's another reason why you really, really don't want to have Zihak go that far up the map. There's also something very interesting about Zihak's interactions with Leth in this chapter. Ooh, hi there. Didn't see you. And it's something that I didn't actually know before, and I just kind of found it out by experimenting. It's a really nice touch, but you'll see that in the bonus footage. There's also one other aspect of bonus footage that I'm going to have to show off, and that is, remember how I said much earlier in this game that Leth dying very slightly affects the story? That's because Leth is the boss of this chapter. Obviously, she can't be the boss of this chapter if she's dead, so what happens if she is? That is what I plan to show in bonus footage. I'm going to have to go back to 3-4 and get Leth killed there. And then I'm going to show this chapter and how it changes if she's dead. Mordecai is not considered a boss, though. If you fight him here, he just uses the regular enemy phase battle theme. And yeah, this is just Tiger Central. How close are we to ending the map? I think we're very close to ending the map. Edward, you are not critting very much. At least you're leveling up a lot. Your level up's doing great. Edward and Mia, you'd expect one of them to get screwed, but no, they're both doing very well. I kind of wanted a tiger, to be honest. Now, I'd also like a crit on Aaron here. No. Well, he is doubling you. I love Paragon, especially against enemies. Hi there! Did not expect 2 tigers, though, but Aaron is one of the few people who can take 2 tiger hits and survive. Another reason why I like training him in part 1. And he also one-shots tigers with criticals. Paragon is so fun. Oh, yeah, his level ups have been kind of fluctuating a little bit. Yeah, that's another tiger, isn't it? I think we're almost done. This chapter can end on the enemy phase if, really? Jill's being pretty amazing here, but it's at a time when I, from a story standpoint, really don't want it to be. Yeah, that wasn't even Paragon. But yeah, this is actually, you know, I'd rank this as one of my favorite chapters in the game. Okay, for that other cat to be doing 5 damage, that must have been a very strong cat. Yeah, it was worth a lot more experience too, so I feel like that cat was very high level. Okay, how are we at? 9 left. Okay. We're getting close. I just hope that we don't die now. Aaron is hurt pretty bad. Definitely don't want a couple more tigers jumping out and surprising him. By the way, let's start with the full transform gauge. So the moment that you get into her range, Mordecai does too. So the moment you get in their range, they're going to be right on you. No sneaking up on them while they're untransformed, unless you scout them out in advance. But, you know, that's cowardly. Not that, you know, this game is kind of all about how sometimes cowardly tactics are necessary, at least this part is. And he's already almost capped skill in defense. And he's only level 7. Let's... Look at all these tigers. I mean, I would have the Black Knight fight one of them, but I really don't want to. Because that's a complete waste of experience. He's going to be gone forever after this chapter. I'd much rather Nolan and Edward get the... I forgot that you didn't die. Now you... And you cancel now, too. Still, he has never activated Vantage, which is really bizarre. He really should have activated Vantage at least once by now. Unless I forgot to give it to him or something. No, he does have Vantage. And he's approaching SS in swords, too. Yeah, Edward is looking pretty impressive. He'll definitely prove to be more than a match for Mia. Nolan is already more than a match for Void, though. Tarvos is so stupidly good. Of course, they have to give one of the best members of the Dawn Brigade one of the, by far, best personal weapons. Speaking of these personal weapons, I said before that I wonder what they do if Edward, Nolan, and Leonardo get into Heroes, because you'd think they'd give them Tarvos, Kaladbolg, and Luga, whatever, but these weapons didn't exist in the Japanese version, so... Alright, there's an off chance, there might be a tiger down there. I'm gonna actually run back and try and scout that area out with Z-Hawk. Can't really see. It's not like I want to scout that with Leonardo either. Let me use my Beastokira. Okay, there better not be any more tigers that can attack Soph. Yeah, that or Soph should dodge. Please dodge. No! I could put Volg in front of him. Wait a minute, how many enemies are left? 5. Okay, we can't end this on our phase. Concoction. Probably should have kept you there. I mean, as much as I really do want to heal with Micaiah, the problem is, if there is by some chance a tiger down there, now I might as well keep the Black Knight around here just in case I need to get him to kill something to end the chapter, but I really want to physics Soph, but I don't think I'll be able to. I'm just too worried about there being a tiger. And with that, in the space of one chapter, Micaiah took her staff rank up from C to A. That's why, well, I mean, I don't love Discipline. It's a good skill. It's not an amazing skill. But Discipline is useful sometimes, like now. So yeah, having her in A rank in staves is going to be pretty useful. Let's just finish you. Now, depending on how this goes, this may end during the enemy phase. We'll see. And I'm content with the number of level ups I've got in this chapter. Just imagine the total experience if that was being tracked, just how much I got in this one. In fact, wait a minute, it does get tracked, doesn't it? I think it does. Oh, no, it only tracks bonus experience in the base. I should probably check who my MVPs have been so far. Haven't actually checked that for all of Part 3. Okay, 4 left. Do not mess this up now. I think Soph is pretty well and truly screened by now. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Bishop. Dayan has a lot of really good NPC bishops. You'll see more of them. I am so glad I put Volk in front of Soph. I should have known that would happen. Yeah, Tigers from the Darkness is one... Oh, crap. There's probably not another Tiger. I still don't know why they go for Nolan all the time. Sometimes it's hard to tell whether enemies prioritize hit rate or defense. Because Edward does have the lower defense, but obviously Nolan has, But yeah, why are they going for Nolan? Right in the underbelly there. Yeah, you obviously want Nolan to be getting as many level ups in this chapter as possible. That is very good too, and that's also Cat Magic, in case I want to use Imbue on him. This could actually end now. This definitely could end now. Yeah, because Edward's doubling you. Okay, come on, last Cat, please go for... Not Cat, but like last Tiger. Please go for Edward, please go... Oh. Well, there's a possibility that Nolan might not kill you. But I feel like he's going to crit there. No, he didn't. Okay, then. Please let there be one more. Well, that's interesting. Please let there not be one more Tiger. Actually, though, Aaron can take them. He can probably take a few more Tigers. That could actually be bad, though. No, Oh, yep, it's over. So it's pretty much a stalemate on both sides. Yeah, if only they knew. I should mention that if Micaiah dies during this chapter, Leth actually says a line. She actually says, "You should have been on our side like Ike." I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but every single chapter in Radiant Dawn has unique dialogue for the main character dying. Ha, that's a pretty good line. Well, at least Micaiah's kind enough to propose this. Nice bluff there, Ranulph. Scrimir's actually here. Remember, the enemy we're fighting has Sauron on their side. You really think they wouldn't have a counterplan? And General Toroni is finally back. They also have Skrymir. As dumb as he is, he's definitely terrifying to fight against. Hopefully, Micaiah can avoid bloodshed. And that is chapter over, so obviously this bonus experience is going to the Dawn Brigade rather than the Grail Mercenaries. This is going to get a little bit confusing, because we're going to be hopping back and forth between parties for the rest of Part 3. So next time, we're actually going to be controlling the Grail Mercenaries, and let's just say, the next chapter is an equally interesting one. See you then. Okay, that is really interesting. I've never actually tried this before, and that's actually dispelled a few myths out of this. So firstly, Leth will not talk to Zihak and recruit him on her own. He has to talk to her himself, but once she attacks him once, you've lost the opportunity to have Zihak talk to her. That's really, really interesting. I didn't know it worked that way. That's actually really cool. So if Leth does attack him, as you saw in that battle sequence, she attacks, he doesn't try and defend himself. So Leth is on Zihak's pacifism list. He will not attack her under any circumstances. So for example, I'm here, I have a Wind Edge in Zihak's inventory, but I don't even have the option to attack, because Zihak is programmed to never be able to attack Leth or Mordecai under any circumstances. So that's interesting. I'm going to go ahead and reload my battle save and show what happens if you do have Zihak talk to Leth before she attacks him. And so, just like with Jill talking to her father in Path of Radiance chapter 20, Zihak is now an enemy. So, don't have him talk to Leth. It's a really bad idea. If this happens, Zihak is officially considered a Grail mercenary from now on, and he'll be playable when the Grail mercenaries are next playable. However, this is not recommended, as the Grail Mercenaries already have enough powerful characters as it is, but the Dawn Brigade needs all the help they can get. As such, Zihak really should stay with them. But it's very cool that you have the option from a story standpoint. So we won't see any visible differences just yet, but as we progress the chapter, we will definitely see the major difference that I wanted to show. Also, I pretty much dumped all of my bonus experience on Jill here, because all I'm concerned with is having Jill fly to the boss as fast as possible. This time, I have no emotional reservations whatsoever of having Jill fight the boss here. Now, we should see the difference on the first enemy phase, hopefully. Here it is! So, this guy, Kesda, he only exists if Leth is dead, making him one of the most obscure characters in the entire series. He fills in for Leth as the boss of this chapter if, like I said, she's dead. Kez doesn't really have a lot of character other than the fact that he's a captain in Gallia's army, and his dialogue is slightly different to Leth. In fact, he has a lot less reservations about attacking. Okay, here's the second Kesda conversation. So Kesda, as you can tell, is a far more generic character than Leth is. He really only exists to fill the role of the boss here in case she died earlier in the game. Not really all that much to say about him, but I at least wanted to show him, because he's not something that you see very often in this game. I think that's... Yeah, that's him. Well, I didn't double him, so I can at least show off his battle animations next turn. And show his actual stats. Though I might want to hold off a little bit because I think there's an extra conversation. There's that one with Lyre, but I don't know if that even happens in this version. So here's Kesda. On average, he's generally stronger than Leth is at this point. He's still not exactly the strongest boss in the game, but he is at least fairly decent, and unlike Leth, he has a fixed inventory, so he has a Lagoo Stone, and no skills. So that's pretty much Kesda. He also looks pretty interesting. He's the only black cat that we see in Tellius. In fact, I might even have Jill just stay here and unequip her weapon just to show off how he looks fighting. Because, yeah, the whole point of this bonus footage was just to show him. Okay, I think I just accidentally demoed something that I want to talk about in the next chapter. So, Kesda did not have a concoction before on the last turn. He does now, and it's a concoction that's been slightly used. Mordecai is right here, and Mordecai no longer has a concoction. That can only mean one thing. So, this is one incredibly annoying aspect of the player character versus player character battles. The AI can steal your healing items. So, if there are any generic enemies, or in this case a non-playable boss, who are wounded but are close to playable characters who have healing items, the AI control characters will take your healing items and they're gone forever. So, for this reason, it might be beneficial to remove the healing items from everyone in the Dawn Brigade before 3.6 is over, because it can get very, very irritating in the next chapter. Trust me, you might end up seeing it. I felt like I would end up having to introduce that in the next chapter, but instead I'm actually going to have to introduce that now because Kesda just accidentally demoed it for me. Nice job, Kesda. Anyway. Okay, we finally get to see Kesda fight. And yeah, he's a black cat with a white underbelly. Not something that you often see in Lagoos in this game. Okay, the Black Knight thing happens. For now, I'm going to conclude that the Lyre scene doesn't happen for Kesda at all, which makes sense. It's pretty much an interaction specific to her and Lev. So, yeah, if the Black Knight's here already, I feel like maybe that scene is not, does not play if Kesda is present. So, anyway, let's just try and finish him off. As difficult as that is. He actually does look pretty cool in battle, though. Actually, that's kind of funny. Mordecai still mentions Leth in his defeat quote, even if she's dead. Bit of an oversight there. Okay then. I guess he doesn't want to use his Lagoo Stone. It's weird. You'd think he would, but he's just like, nope, I don't want to do that. In that case, this is actually a problem since I can't actually one round him without this, and I'm pretty sure at least one of these will miss. And Jill's in worse biorhythm. But well, at least we get to see what he looks like fighting untransformed now. Okay, now I just need to hit the second one. There we go. That's all I really wanted to show, because now I get to show his defeat quote. I showed both of his forms. Wait. Did you see what I just saw? It looked like he went to retreat and then he just fell over and died. Maybe that's kind of a glitch that is to do with him replacing Leth, because Leth does retreat But him is just like, okay, that's actually kind of funny. He's like, wait a minute, maybe I should retreat after all. Oh wait, no, I'm dying. But anyway, that is Kesda, and that is the only time I have to do this, because Kesda is the only replacement boss in this game. Every other playable character who ends up being a boss at some point is someone who can't die. So, Leth is the only one who can. Anyway, I hope you found that interesting, and I will see you in the next chapter.